Rosselli Northern supports upstate New York construction with over 400 employees, 250 trucks, 9 ready-mix plants, 4 blacktop plants, and 40 aggregate mines. But their most important number is your bottom line. Contact them today to see why Rosselli Northern has been the choice for contractors and project managers across upstate New York since 1929.
Everybody, welcome in to the FL1 betting preview here on FingerLakes1.com. Paul Russo, Jim Sacropi, and Kyle Evans here with you, and we are at the doorstep, gentlemen, of the big one, Super Bowl 58. How about it?
Yeah.
Anybody? I was like, anybody?
We went a week without football. That wasn't great. But here we are. We got one more big game, and then we got 6 months to wait, roughly, maybe, until training camp?
USFL starts up soon,
yeah.
right? I mean, we're going to do a USFL weekly betting podcast, aren't we?
It's UFL now,
whatever
with
it
the
is.
combination, yeah, so.
It's ridiculous.
But spring will also be here, too, so that's great.
Any baseball fans with pitchers and catchers?
Yep, next week already.
I think tomorrow, technically the first team reports. The Dodgers. 5-day head start on everybody.
Why?
It's the Dodgers. Who knows? They can get to losing when it matters most quicker, I guess. I don't know.
It's because they play the Padres in South Korea.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
Open the season.
You know, that's the problem with Major League Baseball, honestly. Opening day used to mean something to get real excited about. Now you never know when it is, and if you want to watch the true opening pitch of the season, then you better be up at like 4 a.m. or whatever it is, and so they can enjoy it over there in Seoul, South Korea. I'd rather almost see them, if they're going to play games over there, do it in the summer, maybe around the All-Star break or anytime. But opening day, it should be in America. They should have free hot dogs at the SMS.
Hell yeah.
And none of this stupid stuff where one team goes over to Japan or South Korea and plays 2 days before everybody else or whatever it is.
Yep, it's actually going to be 8 days before opening
it makes
day.
a lot of sense.
And it's 6:05 a.m. starts for us, back-to-back days.
Yep, good job, Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
So apparently,
Still do free hot dogs, by the way. I mean,
Yeah, I know, but are they going to do it on the day that the
Oh,
Padres play the Dodgers over in South Korea at 6 a.m.?
no, it will be March 30th or whatever day it is.
Yeah, the almost
March
opening
28th.
day.
Yep.
28th. Okay.
Yep. So I'll be up at 6:05 on Wednesday and Thursday, March 20th, March 21st, ESPN.
For
For
you,
the diehard fans, that's good.
Yep.
But for the rest of, the casual sports fan, Major League Baseball is really missing an opportunity, in my opinion, to have a true national holiday. Opening day baseball is a national holiday.
Yeah.
Used to be, at least, when I was younger.
Yep.
yeah, still is kind of for me, but we're the psychos still. Kyle, you might as well just be all-nighters for you, but
Yeah, I'll probably just stay up all night that night.
yeah.
What's the point of going to bed at 1, 2 a.m.?
But first, one more
Yeah.
football game to play.
Right, I was about to say, let's get to the actual matter of attention here. 49ers and Chiefs in Super Bowl 58, Las Vegas, Nevada, on Sunday, 6:30 p.m. Kickoff. Got mine thinking of AM there because of that baseball talk, but CBS, so we got that crew on the TV side of things. But nobody really cares about that because we're talking about the betting element of it here. And normally this is where we'll put the bet card up, but I don't want to spoil it. Kyle, you were
Kyle won the season.
pretty much ran away with it.
challenge.
Yeah. So, Kyle, congratulations. Any words, speech?
Well, I mean, it's great that I did well during the regular season, but looking at my playoff record, it's been rough. What am I got? 1 win in the
but
playoffs
you
so
kept the
far.
lead through the playoffs.
So, yeah, I mean, it was nice to do the show my first year to have success, but playoffs matter too. So I need to bounce back here in the Super Bowl. I got a lot of props though. I think that are pretty good that should hit.
You got a few options for the Super Bowl in terms of prop bets.
Yeah,
Although
it's-
in New York State,
Yeah.
they don't have all the prop bets. They don't have like the subjective bets, and they don't have like DraftKings. You can't bet on the length of the national anthem,
True.
which was something I was really investigating.
We can confirm that, I will say. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. DraftKings, I noticed, and it's been the way since I guess especially the mobile side of it became legal 2 years ago now, 3 years ago now. How long has it been? I guess
At least a couple years.
yeah. So it tends to be those like. I believe DraftKings calls them the novelty props. They only have the one, and it's the coin toss. And
Which is the best bet on the board.
Right.
Even money. Where are you going to get even money from a casino?
across the board,
Plus
it's
100 odds. Heads or tails?
Yep. And
I, mean,
plus
I like heads.
and plus 100 for who will win the toss as well.
Right.
So that's pretty much all they have for novelty. Kind of one of those tough deals, but. Kyle, I like the way you teed it up because it really is more or less a prop bettor's delight, the Super Bowl. It's pretty much it's where a lot of the action kind of is, and it's just by lack of anything else, right? It's one single game, so your options are limited in terms of what you can find game-wise, right, outside of your normal stuff because it's only one game with spread, total, money line, stuff like that. So the player element of this is huge for the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And this weekend. I mean, I have a list of them here, the ones that I've kind of looked at, and I'm sure we'll get into more of that in a second. But it's been really interesting. I want to get your guys' take on this, kind of watching the preview shows and stuff like that, because especially now with the sport books marketing and being in the pockets of all the networks more or less at this point and the sports, the element of the props this weekend have gone through the roof in my mind. There is quite literally, I got home yesterday before me and Kyle went to go broadcast the game, and I was watching CBS Sports Network, which I go there to find a lot of my college basketball stuff and information, and they're in Vegas this weekend. Obviously, they're doing the game. They have a thing outside the Bellagio, and it was nothing but 30 straight minutes of player prop discussion when I got home yesterday from 4:30 until 5 o'clock. I thought it was kind of insane because I don't think I've ever seen just player props be discussed for like 30 straight minutes like that.
Or you can go back and forth over who's going to win the game.
Yeah.
Who's got the better defense? Who's got the better offense? Is Mahomes can Purdy hold up Mahomes? All that stuff. That's the only limit. You got 2 weeks to talk about this stuff. And player props are something that fantasy sports players can relate to. Fantasy football is huge in America, and so I think the opportunity to get involved all those fantasy football season's been over for a while. Mm-hmm. So people can relate to these prop bets, and obviously I think that the online bookmakers will make more money off of player props than they will off of actually straight bets by the end of the story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I've already had a couple friends of mine who I know, like, he's going out of town on business from where he lives, so he won't be able to bet on the game itself, and he's already been betting a couple, as apparently the camera's locked on you, Jim. So I don't know what's going on here. I have Wi-Fi on my end, so I'm not too sure what's going on over here at the control hub. But, yeah, there we go. Now we're going. So, yeah, and he's, already done some player prop bets. He sent me them this morning. I'm like, they're good, but the one worry I always have, and we talk about a ton on here throughout the year in general, right, is, man, betting on Thursday can be an awful lot different by the time you get to Sunday on these deals, especially on the prop end of things, because you just don't know what might happen in practice, especially in this case. Guy might tweak his ankle and completely sabotage, and who knows what might happen. Hell, I even saw
Line hasn't moved much though.
No, and I mean, hell,
I thought it would.
Well, it's interesting.
Everybody's betting the Chiefs.
Yeah, it's interesting because apparently, the line dipped down to 1 early in the week this week, and it got back up to 2, 2.5, depending on what book you're looking at. And apparently, and it's always funny when you hear the relative terms of this, right? The smaller bets, quote unquote small bets here, when I first heard the term, I thought, oh, 10 and 20 bucks. Are apparently Vegas obviously classifies small bets in that sense as 10 and 20 grand, because those are all going on Kansas City. But the bigger bets, the ones that enter the 6-digit category and above, have all been staying with San Francisco, actually. So I don't know. It's one of those things where...
Are we going to talk about who we think is going to win the game?
Yeah, I was going to save that. Well, we can do that right now, yeah.
I don't know. I can't pick a side. And so if you're going to give me points and Pat Mahomes, I think I'll take them. I was anti-Chiefs against – actually, I did like the Chiefs over Buffalo. But I thought it was ending last week against Baltimore. So you got the Chiefs kind of overachieving. They didn't even, they did 1-2 playoff games on the road to get here. Mm-hmm. And then, doing it in some inclement weather too. Now they're back indoors. They are more experienced at this level. Mahomes versus Purdy, usually in the Super Bowl, a team with a better quarterback wins. It's really tough. So I might not even bet a side, but if you're going to give me 2 points in Patrick Mahomes, if anything, I'd lean that way. I don't know what you think, Kyle.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with the Chiefs. I'm actually taking them on the money line. I do have them actually included in one of my parlays as well because, I don't know, the 49ers defense worries me because of how it went against the Packers and in the first half against the Lions. And the way Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, I mean, there was times during the regular season where he was not really showing up. All of a sudden, you look, he's got 3 touchdowns in the playoffs. He had 11 catches against the Ravens. Yep. It's like he's on a different level now that it's the playoffs, and now it's the Super Bowl, going for their 3rd Super Bowl win. I just think the Chiefs are going to find their way again.
Pacquiao's become a legitimate, probably top 5 back in the league, maybe. Maybe that's pushing it a little too far. Rashee Rice is filling that role of a number 1 receiver, which they didn't really have most of the season. And
the receivers are catching the ball now.
Yeah, and the defense has been
underrated, I think.
Underrated. And then, but on the other side, San Francisco, not much to complain about there. Pretty solid, both sides of the ball. Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Deebo Samuel healthy.
Yeah. It's one of those things where I'm with you, Jim. Like if it's one of those, if you point the figurative gun to my head, like I'll take Kansas City, and I kind of said now a few times this week, but they've entered the territory of where I kind of felt with Tom Brady and the Patriots there by the end of it, where it's like until I get proven otherwise at this point, I guess I'll just kind of roll with them. It's strange though. It's weird. I mean, I know it's kind of dumb saying it because of what point we are in the season, but San Fran, for as rough as they have looked the past few weeks in the playoffs for them, they have still come out on top at the end of the day.
Giving up a lot of points. That's why I don't know if I'm going to bet the over-under, but I do have a lot of player props that are focused around the fact that I think that there'll be some more offense in this game. I mean, the San Francisco gave up a ton of points to Green Bay, and then, of course, Detroit obviously has a good offense, but it seems to me like it will be a little back and forth. It's indoors. It's on turf. It's the Super Bowl, so there'll be, the general nature of things. The NFL would like to see some offensive fireworks as opposed to a 17-10 game.
Yeah.
So
it is natural grass though, technically.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because they have the roll. They have the rollout. Yeah.
But the roof's going to be closed.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. Allegiant Stadium, the evil Roomba. There it is. I can't believe I forgot the term of it there, what it looked like. But they are one of the 2 stadiums in the NFL that have the rollout grass that they roll out into.
They're in Arizona, right?
Yep. So it will be natural grass. Yeah, that's one of the things that's kind of funny hearing the 49ers complain about the situation at UNLV, but then change course over the past couple days about the field and treatment there. So it's kind of interesting. I don't know.
And today they had a fire alarm go off in their hotel.
Oh,
so it's like always something every day now with the Niners. But I guess everything's fine. But just thought I'd mention that because we brought up the practice fields. Sure. Now we're bringing up a fire alarm going off. Like, what's tomorrow?
Yeah.
For San Francisco.
Turning off the lights, that's what's tomorrow.
Taylor Swift's going to be there, focused on the Chiefs winning, and San Francisco doesn't have any superstar pop stars on their side.
That's a good point. I'll do this disclaimer now. We do not have any Taylor Swift props here, folks. We aren't in Canada, so you're going to have to deal with it and create your own on this podcast if you want it. We aren't going to give you them. So.
DraftKings is offering bets that are based on Taylor Swift song names.
Right. Yeah.
But that's not a Taylor Swift prop.
No. Yeah, I'm about to say, I think I do have the DraftKings. I do have the tab open here. Let me see if I can find a couple.
Yeah, they're not
quickly.
good.
Found it for the Swifties. There we go. Yeah. 22. Any quarter to have 22 plus points scored. Anti-hero Brock Purdy to have over 250 yards of passing and 2 touchdowns. Blank space, Travis Kelce to score an octopus. So,
I got thoughts
about
on
it?
octopus.
Yeah.
That's this this show. Let's talk about some of this stuff.
Yeah. I'll kind of jump in here first if you guys don't mind. I have more than a couple props written down here, obviously, but I'm going to begin with the quarterbacks here. I have one for each quarterback kind of highlighted here on the prop side of things. I'll start with Patrick Mahomes. I found this side over on the DraftKings element of it, but I've seen most books have it at this number anyway. His passing at 261.5 at the over-under mark. Both over and under on at least DraftKings side of things, minus 115. I actually like the under here, admittedly. Now, in the playoffs, he's 1 of 2 on the over-unders here, 1 over, 2 unders. The lone over came as 262 against Miami back in the wild card round. Since then, 215 at Buffalo and 241 at Baltimore. The 241 was actually right at the number for Baltimore against Baltimore. That was 241.5, what that prop ended up at. But I think it's under. I do think he'll probably tread close to that number, admittedly, but I just don't see him eclipsing, honestly, 250 yards of passing. That's a really good San Francisco defense, and for as good as the wide receivers for the Chiefs have kind of stepped up through the playoffs, I don't know if I can see that happening with the San Francisco defense, admittedly. And, Mahomes is clearly not getting the yardage he's kind of used to in the past few games, collectively. The other one that I have for quarterbacks is Brock Purdy, and it's his rush yards, 12.5 over-under, minus 120 on the over, minus 110 on the under. I do like the over.
After last game.
Yeah, and that's the thing, too. He's had 14 against Green Bay. That will put him over the number as well for this game. And then, like you said, 48 against Detroit. I think
He's running wild.
Right. I don't know if it's necessarily like a gimme bet in that sense, the 12.5 for Purdy, right? But I can't imagine a way that he doesn't scramble 2 to 3 times at least in this game, the way the past couple have played out for San Fran.
What can get you there is he just gets over, and then San Francisco has the lead late, and so he kneels down 2 or 3 times in a row, loses a couple yards each time.
Right.
But I like the over for Purdy rushing.
Yeah.
I like the over for Mahomes rushing, and that's like 26 or 27, isn't it?
Yeah,
26 and a half.
I like his rush
that one did
attempts.
frighten me, though. Oh, rushing attempts.
4.5.
Is that Mahomes you're talking about? Okay.
Yeah, I think he'll break out 5 times. I think he never does a sweep.
No.
Yeah, I just think with like
Or
we
a
talked
sneak,
about,
I mean.
a lot more on the line. When protection breaks down, he likes to run and run out of bounds, and I think over 4 quarters, you're telling me he can't get 5 rushes? Seems pretty reasonable.
Yeah, I
Against
kinda
that
like
49ers pass rush as well.
I kind of like it.
So I don't know if you guys have any other quarterback props in that
Uh,
space as
We got
well.
lots of props.
The
all
other
over the place.
quarterback one, and then I can turn it over to him because it's the only other one
Sure.
I have. I do think Patrick Mahomes goes over 1.5 touchdowns.
Okay.
I got that as well.
Yeah, that was minus 150 on FanDuel, and I don't know what it is on DraftKings. Probably similar, I would think. Where is it?
Are we going position by position, or
I don't know. I just kind of started at quarterback because at least the way I have them listed on my sheet, they're the 2 of the top ones. So I just
Yeah,
kind
so
of
it's better. It's better to bet on DraftKings with Mahomes touchdown. It's minus 160.
I'm not a big fan of a lot of the standard props, especially as it goes for the quarterbacks. But I do. First of all, general betting for this. In most years, I like to accumulate throughout the season and then let some bigger bets ride in the Super Bowl. Well, I didn't have that great a year. I'm not a big ticket player. As I developed more of a bankroll, I bet more, and it just never got there this year. I put in $100 in. I have like 57 left in my account. Yeah. College basketball. I had a little over 100 after the divisional or after the AFC championship, and then it's just been a horrible college basketball. I'm talking betting like $5, and losing like 7 straight bets in college. But so I might even deposit some more money and go for this. But for me, I know I'm going to be sitting there watching the game. I want to have some fun.
Yeah.
I'm betting a lot of different stuff. And since we are talking about the quarterbacks, I also like Purdy over 1.5 touchdown passes. I just think there's going to be some back and forth offense here. I don't see it being a low scoring game, but I'm not willing to take the over, so I guess I'm not that confident. I'm not really confident about anything. I like Mahomes' longest pass over 36.5 yards. That is quite a bit, but he's going to be going up top to Valdez-Scantling once or twice. Kelsey could get a 20, 25-yard pass and turn it into a 40-yard gain. You've seen that plenty of times. Rashee Rice. Is Kadarius Toney playing?
He's off the injury report now.
Is
So.
he?
I would expect him to play, but I mean, how much is he going to really factor in?
I don't know, man.
Player with longest reception of the entire Super Bowl, Kadarius Toney, plus 7,500.
Yeah.
I mean, things like this just happen,
Yeah.
right? Where all of a sudden now Kadarius Toney makes the big play in the Super Bowl after being just crapped on all year. But there's a reason he's been crapped on, because he's just not that great a guy. So, but I'm just throwing that out there. I don't know if I'll put anything on that. But I do, like I say, this is a lot about just more of the enjoyment of watching the game. And so you talked about the octopus. I might bet the octopus. I could see a Kelsey touchdown followed by a Kelsey 2-point conversion. And I think that's plus 3,000. Not great odds, but plus 1,400 for any octopus.
Yeah.
Again, you can see McCaffrey. First of all, they got to attempt a 2-point conversion.
Right.
Which, if it was maybe Detroit in the Super Bowl against Kansas City, a little better chance. But, you could see it happening. So would I put $5 down to win, what would that be, $70 on an octopus? It's occurred 175 times since 1994. So it's not a common thing, but it's also not unheard of. So just saying, you're a Super Bowl party. Hey, I bet $5 on an octopus, and people would be like, "What are you talking about?" Well, it's a touchdown, 2-point conversion by the same guy. I like. Will any punt result in a touchback? Plus 130 for yes. I mean, why not? Normally, the punter runs out. You're ready to go to the back to the table and get some more dip and another drink. Maybe you want to hang out and watch the punts, especially when they're putting in that range, and just root for a touchback. So I'm on it. And then the game starts. You're all excited. Let's bet some first drive stuff, right? Let's get into it right from the start. Will the opening kickoff be a touchback? Yes, minus 310. But that is like even money. I mean, I might go to the old bank account, clear it all out, and let it all ride on the minus 310 for opening kickoff touchdown. It's indoors. So it's like 75% of all kickoffs are touchbacks, but that includes the outdoor games where kickers are kicking into the wind. So in a controlled environment, that's got to be even higher, probably 85%. So right off the bat, opening kickoff touchback, give it to me.
Okay.
For minus 310, I'm in. First drive time of possession, over 3 minutes and 15 seconds, minus 110. Either one of these teams is probably going to come out with a balanced attack of, I don't think there's going to be any fireworks right off the bat. You're going to see Pacquiao or McCaffrey probably get a chance. You're going to see maybe a dump off, Kittle or Kelsey. Basically, you just need one first down, and you're probably going to get that over that 3 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So I like that. Gross yards of the first punt, 47.5. Gross yards. So as long as they're not trying to punt from, the 40 or 50, if it's a true punt, I think that they'll kick it 47.5 yards. Just going by NFL averages. First rush for Brock Purdy over 3.5 yards, plus 105. Yes. Pacquiao plus 100 over 3.5 yards. Yes, give it to me. McCaffrey minus 115 over 3.5 yards. Give me it. First rush only. And then I do like this one. San Francisco 49ers to score first and lose. Plus 390. Plus 390. KC always comes from behind. So then why not also throw in KC to win from behind plus 220?
Yeah.
Whatever, man. These are. I'm going to bet on all these things I'm saying. Might be smaller bets, might be $5 bets, but I'm going to have a whole score sheet during the Super Bowl, and I'm going to sit there with my pen. Yes, yes, yes. Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I'll give another prop here that I got, and it's kind of, I guess, my long shot prop of sorts. I guess maybe similar to the
Kadarius Toney plus.
yeah, in that space. I have Elijah Mitchell anytime touchdown, plus 800.
I like it.
His touches have been primarily coming closer to the end zone when he's
That
been in
scenario
this
happened
year.
last game.
Yeah.
McCaffrey ripped off a big run, needed to go off for a break. Elijah Mitchell came in close to the goal line, but didn't get in. But he had the handoff, so there's a chance.
Yeah.
My favorite bets in the Super Bowl, my favorite prop bets are the backup running backs. Clyde Edwards-Helaire over 6.5 rushing yards, minus 10. Elijah Mitchell over 4.5 rushing yards, minus 105. I love those bets.
Yeah.
I'm going to bet both of those.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at it today, just trying to find, who, like, the quote-unquote long shots, right, type thing to get into the end zone. And, I mean, for me, a guy like Mitchell who, he would have had a touchdown if it didn't get called back, technically. So, I mean, I saw that, and I'm like, Kyle said it, you're right. McCaffrey comes out, and he does that not often, but when he breaks him off, he usually comes off. So
If McCaffrey breaks off a 30-yard run to get it down to the 2-yard line, he's probably going to come off, and Mitchell's going to come in, score the touchdown. I don't mind giving a shot at that.
Another one that I got too, and I don't classify this one as like a long shot, but I don't tend to venture off into the defensive props too much. But one did catch my attention. That was Chris Jones sacks over a quarter of a sack.
Yeah, he just needs half a sack.
Right, and he didn't have any against Baltimore, but he did have 2 against Buffalo and a half sack against Miami. You're giving me plus money at plus 120 to have just that over quarter of a sack.
Yeah.
I think that's, I don't know if it's a slam dunk necessarily. There's never such thing as a slam dunk, but I think it's about as close to defensively having one as you can get.
I like Drew Greenlaw and Fred Warner tackle props. It's tackle plus assists usually is what I like. So, yeah, defense, you can bet on both sides of the ball.
Yeah. Other than that, for me, another one I got, just kind of looking at my sheet right now, Brandon Ayuk. I have him over 59.5 yards receiving. He only had 32 against Green Bay, but he had 68 against Detroit. I don't classify him as the number one. It's interesting kind of hearing the discourse around him and Deebo Samuel this week. Who is their de facto number one receiver or not? Ayuk isn't used a ton as we've seen recently in the jet sweeps as Deebo when Deebo's healthy. So I kind of like the Ayuk side of things here. I think he might be poised to have, I don't know about a national coming out party. I think those of us, we all play fantasy in here. We've known about Ayuk pretty well here the past couple of years. So, but I think maybe in terms of the grand national stage, he might have a nice coming out party in the Super Bowl is my assumption.
Yeah, for me, I like Valdez-Scantling over 20.5 receiving yards.
Now you're talking. That's gone up quite a bit. Last night it was 19.5. Now it's 20.5, I think.
Over 1.5 catches, I would say. I like Kelsey over 6.5 catches. Another one I got, McCaffrey, 3+ receptions. They use him a lot in the passing game as well. He had 5 catches last game. And then McCaffrey, 80+ rushing yards. The Chiefs ranked number 19 in rushing defense. So I think McCaffrey's been automatic almost all year anyway. And then him to score a touchdown, I think that's automatic too. I expect Kelsey to score again, honestly, if I'm doing a touchdown prop. And then I do have George Kittle over 47.5 receiving yards. McCaffrey over 18.5 rushing attempts. So yeah, that's those are all the ones I have that I'm definitely.
Well, you mentioned Marquez Valdez-Scantling. You can't same game parlay these things, but I wish I could. But I'm going with a 4-way Marquez Valdez-Scantling bet over whatever the receiving yards is. I had it at 19.5 last night. Now it's 20.5. Everybody's on to me. Valdez-Scantling longest reception over 13.5 yards. Well, I don't think he's caught a single pass under 13.5 yards this year. Yeah. Player with the longest reception in the Super Bowl, plus 1,000. I mean, if there's one guy that always gets tested a couple times deep, it's Marquez Valdez-Scantling, so why not? And then most receiving yards plus 2,500. That would be a really dark horse. But you know what? He catches, one 60-yard bomb and then another 20 to 30-yard. It's Marquez Valdez-Scantling is certainly not heading to the Canton for the NFL Hall of Fame. But I do think that when they use him, and they always at least give him a couple shots deep. So I like those odds. I'm going to bet all 4 of those.
I mean, for what it's worth, they have him at over under 1.5 receptions, even as well.
That's what I took.
Yeah. I mean,
that one scares me a little.
It's a good spot. I mean, I think it's a good spot though because and I always say this because of what you said, Jim. I mean, he is more or less the Chiefs' deep threat. I mean, he's the one always on the vertical route.
Got some dropping problems.
Yeah.
I mean, last game I think he caught just the one pass to end the game.
Yeah.
I had 2 catches for 38 yards and then 2 for 62 yards against Buffalo. So, see, he does get those deep completions that help raise the yards up.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to be a big MVS fan come Sunday.
MVS.
You can see what I'm doing here. I'm just loading up.
Yeah.
I'm emptying out the bank account. I'm going up and down. I'm going to be sitting there with my sheets of paper with all the bets and my chili and cheese dip.
Ooh.
I think I'm going to make chili.
Okay.
I usually do for Super Bowl. I used to live stream it on Finger Lakes.
I was about to say,
I don't know if we'll do that this year or not. Maybe. And then, I'm going to sit there in front of my big TV and watch the bets cash.
Yeah.
What do you guys like for anytime touchdown scores? You like McCaffrey and Kelsey, or?
I hate touchdown props more than anything. But, McCaffrey, obviously. But what are the odds? Like minus 300 on him to score a touchdown?
Yeah.
I might be wrong, but I thought like 235 or is that?
That's actually not bad compared to what he's been getting lately.
I mean, I have Elijah Mitchell as my long shot
That's
one
right, yeah.
touchdown.
Yeah.
But
Pacheco. I was thinking him maybe.
yeah.
Debo. But
Kelsey, Kittle, I mean, you could keep it going and going. Varquez Valdez-Scantling. If I'm going, maybe I'll make it a 5-legger and add a touchdown in there. I don't know.
Yeah, it's minus 235 for McCaffrey.
You look even deeper and you find guys like Richie James. If you really want to go for a dark horse that pays off big.
What about the no touchdown scorer one? If you want to really get stupid with it, plus 18,000.
No touchdowns in the
No
game.
touchdowns.
Yeah.
McCaffrey to score twice.
Yeah,
plus
I mean,
210.
to that end though too. Like if you want to go deep, I mean, Rayburn McLeod is available here for the taking. Mecole Hardman, Noah Gray, who he's that one backup tight end who weirdly has a reception every now and then for the Chiefs.
He gets targeted 2
Yeah.
or 3 times a game in the red zone sometimes. And, especially when, the 49ers are keying on Kelsey all for these past 2 weeks, then all of a sudden Noah Gray slips out there and catches a touchdown pass. So, I got no problem with anybody want to give those shots.
Sky Moore's in there too in that category as well. So
Yeah, Sky Moore.
and Jerick McKinnon, now that I'm looking at it too, a little bit deeper there. Jerick McKinnon's right there with him too. So at least on the Chiefs side of things, you got that kind of secondary group all in the same spot.
Right. And that could play against Valdez-Scantling.
Right.
Like the Chiefs do have so many options. None of them great. None of them great options. But still, they're out there, and they all have their moments every now and then.
Yeah.
Sky Moore really hasn't done crap, though, for a while.
About what, week 1 was his last?
Yeah, I was kind of high on him
Yeah.
with my fantasy draft. I didn't get him, but luckily I didn't get him, but he didn't really pan out.
No. Not many on the Chiefs did this year in the grand scheme of it.
You guys in squares?
Oh, yeah. Well, with the dawn of especially the mobile sports betting, I'm not completely off. I'm on, I think, it's technically 3 total boards, but really 2. And I just don't have a ton of money tied up on squares anymore. I just don't. I think
Well, everybody loves their Super Bowl squares. I'm not, the really low percentage chances. But say you got a Super Bowl square, you don't like your numbers, you can go on DraftKings and get the numbers you want. Like you can take. And I don't think these are horrible bets either, odds-wise. Any quarter, Chiefs 0, San Francisco 7 plus 280, or opposite Chiefs 7, San Francisco 0 it's plus 320. And then for the final, it goes way up to plus 2,200 and plus 2,500 respectively, because generally as the game goes on, 7 and 0 become less.
Right.
But still, 27 to 20.
Yeah, I mean, that's a possibility. Yeah. And that, to be fair, I know we're on scores, but that would go into that over-under side of things, because the over-under is 47.5 even. So that's kind of what the odds makers anyway, kind of predict in a way.
Yeah, man, it took a while. It took a while to go through all the bets to prepare for this podcast and prepare for where we'll be playing this weekend. But there is a lot, and that's DraftKings doesn't have nearly as much as other places, at least in New York State here.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how deep it gets at this point.
No prop bets in Vegas though. Did you know that?
Really?
Yeah.
Vegas is I don't want to say weird. It's not the right term. I get why they're on the mobile side a little bit different, obviously, because I mean their whole MO in Nevada as a whole has been right gambling and sports betting for years before anybody else was really on it. So I kind of get it to I guess a certain degree, but yeah, kind of strange. It makes you not wonder, but it does put that question, I guess, in a sense of if there's any outside influence they're trying to cut off at the pass, I guess, in a way.
Here's one that I like that's lower than usual, which is a little concerning, but both teams to record a sack, minus 500. Usually during the regular season, that's like minus 1,200, minus 1,500. Now, I think the thinking being is that Mahomes will avoid all sacks, but he'll get sacked, right? Everybody gets sacked, at least one sack. Mahomes will get sacked. Purdy will get sacked, minus 500. And one way to use that is if you are doing some single-game parlays where you're stacking it up and you just want to give it that extra boost, add that as like the fourth leg, minus 500. It'll help your parlay out a little better than those odds. And, yeah.
How about putting $5 on there to be overtime plus 1,000?
Yeah.
You never know.
Well, the games do go to overtime, don't they?
Yeah.
How many at this point have? I know.
Super Bowls?
Yeah, is it just the one still? I feel like I could be wrong, but
Was it the
Falcons and Patriots, the 28-3 game.
Yeah, only one.
Hey, dollar and a dream.
well, there's been 50-something of them and only one, so that would indicate those plus 1,000 odds are not that great.
Yeah.
Or you could say it's due.
Yeah. I was about to say it might be worth the squeeze. I don't know. Other than that, I got kind of all my props out of the way with it. I kind of really want to talk about. I don't know if you guys have any more here. Or...
I got something I want to talk about.
Yeah, sure.
All these coaching changes, everybody's getting ready for next year. I took a look at the futures market for next year.
Oh.
The favorite to win the Super Bowl next year is the 49ers at plus 550. Kansas City's at plus 750. The Bills are at plus 950, which, all right, I guess the Lions at plus 1,200. I mean, you got to feel like they are moved a big step closer, and next year can get over the hump. C.J. Stroud and the Texans plus 2,200. Jim Harbaugh to the Chargers plus 2,500. I mean, Herbert was hurt. That was just a lost year for the Chargers. I mean, they should be back to contend next year. And you probably won't get any better odds than that by next summer. The Rams plus 3,500. Like, why? Like, they were close this year.
Well, it's got to be questions about
Stafford?
I would say Stafford and Donald and a couple other guys' futures, I'd say there, if they're that long.
I mean, there might be questions, but like plus 3,500, $10 to win 350. I just put it on there now. They got good coaching. Look, I was impressed with what they did this year. And then you got long shots. The Raiders plus 10,000. I mean, they got to find a quarterback, but they were okay this year, and everybody seems to be behind Antonio Pierce.
Remember they beat the Chiefs on Christmas?
Yeah.
And Aiden O'Connell didn't complete a pass in the second half? It's unbelievable what the Chiefs are in the Super Bowl after that game.
And when you just think you doubt them, here they are. So I'm hesitant to doubt them again Sunday. The Giants at plus 10,000, that seems crazy because the Giants were pretty horrible this year, but they're only a year removed from being in the playoffs. I mean, this league,
Yeah.
things change on a dime. And again, if you got a bet like the Giants to win the Super Bowl at plus 10,000 and they make the playoffs and win one playoff game, you can make that highly profitable by hedging. And then Denver's in there at plus 10,000. Sean Payton, I don't know where Russell Wilson's going, but I have a feeling he might end up right back there. Actually, probably not.
No.
But where else? But he is, yeah, who knows? Who knows? But anyways, I thought it was interesting to look at some future bets now as opposed to, next August.
Yeah, Russell Wilson sounds like a Pittsburgh Steeler already. So there's my hot take, I suppose, into the future. Open up the crystal ball.
It could work.
So, yeah,
He's a good
who
game
knows?
manager. He had a better season this year than he was given credit for.
Oh, definitely.
He
Yeah.
had a horrible start, and then he was embarrassed by Peyton at the end by getting benched.
Yeah.
But in between, he was pretty solid. They won a lot of games.
Yeah. He ain't going back to Denver though. That was a financial decision of the worst regard. But oh well. Kyle, you got anything else over there for the game this weekend?
I mean, the last time we had a Super Bowl on CBS, the Buccaneers beat the Chiefs 31-9. So I'm hoping we don't have a one-sided game like that again. And even the two before, 2019 Patriots 13, Rams 3. That was a CBS Super Bowl. Broncos 24, Panthers 10. That was a 2016 Super Bowl.
Tony Romo.
So the
keeping
CBS
us
Super Bowls haven't really been great, but
Well, there's another bet too, another stat that just is totally irrelevant. Like I think which network broadcast is irrelevant, but in the last 30 years, a team that's had to travel east has never won.
Really?
I saw that stat.
But it's stupid because they include like the Steelers in that. What the Steelers traveled west to Tampa. Like theoretically, Tampa is west of Pittsburgh, but not that much, and it's more south. So it's a good one of these. People are looking for all these trends and stats that really don't mean anything.
Yeah.
I don't know. Stats that matter still, though. The numbers never lie. So I think with that, we offered already to who we think will win the game early on. So I think, gentlemen, that's
No
about
confidence
it, right?
in that.
No.
I'm going to bet Chiefs over 24.5 total points for plus 124. I know that's a key number to go over, but I want the positive odds. Chiefs over 2.5 touchdowns total minus 130. Like they're going to score 3 touchdowns, right? It's a Super Bowl. Everybody wants to see it. Taylor Swift's up there. I mean, people want to see some scoring. 3 touchdowns? Come on.
Yeah. Hey, I'm kind of with it. I think, I don't know, it's been weird. We've had a couple, like you said, Kyle, a couple of them recently haven't been great. We've had a couple of scoring ones as well. I think we're kind of due for an explosion of sort, in a way, which I know goes against a couple of the props I got, but whatever,
I just got to find out if Kadarius Toney's what his role is going to be because you can make some big money on Kadarius Toney props.
Yeah, that's one of the things like we prefaced with, since this is being done on a Thursday here, if you have to sit and wait on those ones, probably wouldn't be the worst option in the world. But
It'd be nice if this game followed last year's Super Bowl. Remember, 38-35, Chiefs, Eagles.
Yeah.
That was fun. A lot of scoring, a lot of offense, a lot of props probably hit because of how high scoring it was. So, yeah, that would be great.
everybody talks about Taylor Swift, but how come we aren't talking about shirtless Jason Kelsey perhaps being in attendance?
Well, he'll
That's what I
definitely be in
want.
attendance, right?
Yeah, I would hope.
Probably be right up there in the booth with yeah, you can bet like who does Taylor Swift get shown sitting next to first and stuff like that. We can't in New York, but those bets are out there. It's crazy. And then
Will she be shown during the national anthem as one of them?
which quarterback will they show first during the national anthem? Mahomes or Purdy? Those are all prop bets that we don't have access to because they're subjective, and somebody's making a decision up there in the CBS booth. The producer.
Yeah,
So imagine having that power.
I know. Couldn't be me. But yeah, I don't know. It'll be weird. Do we know? Is there any props on coaches crying during the national anthem?
Nick Sirianni.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see either of these coaches shedding a tear during the national anthem.
Nah.
And Reba McEntire is more wholesome than emotional,
Yeah.
I would say.
That's true.
And then Usher at halftime. I don't know. Like I said, I'm making a big pot of chili.
Hell yeah.
And I'm not going to any parties. I don't think I'm having anybody over. I'm just going to relax and have a little, my wife and daughter will eat some chili and watch the game. They'll go to bed right after the halftime show probably. And then it's time to live bet the second half.
I'm going over to a friend's house, buffalo chicken wing dip all day with the chili. I don't combine them, but I could, in a couple of years ago, I probably would be able to do a whole batch of the buffalo chicken dip. I just can't anymore. So good, though.
You can
So
get out
good.
of control with that
Yeah.
if you're not careful.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Super Bowl food, or what are your plans?
I'll probably just be watching with my family. I'm sure there'll be pizza and wings, some dips and stuff. But yeah, just like you, just a lot of bets. Live betting. I do like live betting the Super Bowl in the second half, like catches on the drives and stuff like that. So yeah, just hopefully we don't have a boring game. That's all I hope for.
Yeah, I'm just looking to have fun here. Hopefully win a lot of these bets, but not really, not too much strategy going into this. Seeing what the commercials look like, then getting up for work on Monday.
Yeah, I get to go from the Super Bowl to having a filling Monday morning. So
Stuff.
adulthood, right?
My favorite part is when the game's over, it's officially baseball season.
Yeah, one more step closer to spring for sure.
Yep.
Daytona next weekend.
Yeah, that's right.
Phoenix Open Sunday,
right,
final
yeah.
round
Yep.
during the day. So
Who do you got for that early on, Jim? Who do you think?
I hope Jordan Spieth wins. He's off to a good start. He was 3 under after 4 this morning. But you can't pick golf winners like this. It's just hard.
Did you see the guy in the wedding dress?
No.
Okay. Yeah, there was a guy showed up at 9 a.m. Local time out in Phoenix in a wedding dress, just walking around the grounds. Beer and tall boy in hand, ready to go for the Thursday out at Waste Management.
And Live Golf is playing in Las Vegas this weekend,
Yes, that's right.
which nobody will care about.
No. Yeah. Yeah, so wait. Are they still ending on Saturday then for that, or?
I have no idea. I just
Jeez.
don't really care. I just know they're in Las Vegas and attempting to grow the game.
Well, then, gentlemen, I think with that puts a close to the Super Bowl preview episode, and I believe the 2024 season as well.
Yeah, I mean, we'll come back and do a lot of FL1 Sports podcasts before football season next year when it becomes weekly, but I'm sure we're going to, probably preview some NCAA tournament betting. Maybe do a little bit of baseball preview, you guys, instead of just focusing on the Yankees and Mets. Maybe we might do a Bills Weekly after the draft, see who they pick up.
Stanley Cup playoffs, NBA
that'd
playoffs.
be very popular. Yeah, those will both be very popular.
I got one NHL prop before we go. Vancouver Canucks to win the Stanley Cup plus 1,200. They've been very good.
What would they see if the season ended? Just generally.
They got the President's Trophy right
They're
now.
up there among the top, I think top 8. They've been rolling this year.
I'm committed. I don't know if you guys remember last year, but I was betting the long shots from the start. And so that's what I'm doing this year when the season ends and the playoffs are about to start. I'm going to take the 2 longest shots from each conference and bet them because you know what? They're got just as good a chance as anybody at that point in the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs.
How about this? With Vancouver's win last night, they're now the best team in the NHL through 50 games. So 32 left, and they have 73 points, and they're 34-11-5.
No.
And they're plus 1,200 to win the Stanley Cup.
Well, the only thing they got working against them is Canadian teams generally don't win the Stanley Cup, do they?
Yeah.
And
Especially Toronto.
and the winner of the Presidents as well, which is what they're in line for, most points in the regular season.
That's right.
So
Yeah, so maybe we can do some of those. And for you, your NBA bets.
NBA.
I know you love your NBA bets.
I've steered clear of the NBA pretty recently.
Really?
Oh yeah,
It's the worst
been doing
professional league.
a lot of college basketball as usual for me.
Hey,
pretty
happy
much.
trade deadline day, by the way.
Yes.
A lot of moves.
Yep.
In the NBA?
Yeah. Was it 3 o'clock it ends? So
Yeah, we got
there's still some more coming in.
13 more minutes as of right now.
In fact, we got a Spurs-Pacers trade going on.
What is it? Break
Doug
the news.
McDermott.
What? Dougie McBuckets.
Yeah.
Wow. That's for those who don't know, that's Creighton head coach's son. So.
Yep.
All right, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure all season here. We aren't all in the green, but
Yep,
what are we
congratulations
gonna
to
do?
Kyle on getting the crown. We don't have a trophy or anything, but we'll try to knock him off next year.
To quote Blazing Saddles, Kyle, I offer you a laurel in a hearty handshake.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, so, gentlemen, been an honor, been a pleasure. To everybody watching, appreciate everybody tuning in and following along all season. Hopefully, like every other weekend, this weekend you are ending up in the green. Enjoy the game, everybody, and hopefully enjoy what was a 2023 season. How about it? So we'll talk with everybody soon enough. Enjoy, everybody.